Right. So
Well,
base.
so question, in the middle of that, right, in those 10 years, is that when you came across EO Dub and End of the Week? How was it that was that in that time frame or was that after the cafe?
That was before. The cafe was in 2014. I started to be involved in EO Dub. Actually, the first year that they got into Montreal, they got into Quebec, I think it's 11 years ago now. So we're what?
2011.
It's like in 2011 ish. I
Okay.
opened in 2014. So as of 2011, I was already going to all of the events. And then slowly after that, I started to be a judge in a lot of events. And then I became
Okay.
an official judge. That was like my first entry. And also that year that because the I think at that point the world finals was in New York that year. So I was managing Monkey at that time.
Okay.
Monkey was the Quebec champion, so we came to New York together at that time. So that's the 2011 is the year that I got into End of the Week, and then from there on, I didn't know really the people like the extended family that much. I started like the first time I met the extended family was when the World Final was in Montreal. I think that was in 2015 or 2016. But before that, it was mostly through Guillaume, through Benoit, through the events. And I just found that it was like so different. Nothing. And I've seen like so many rap shows at that point that that was like
So you
completely.
were mostly familiar with like the Quebec scene of EO Dub, and
Yeah,
you hadn't really came to New York or experienced like EO Dub in New York.
you are correct. Absolutely.
Okay,
Like I
okay,
was sometimes going to New York, but I had no idea what EO Dub was. Like really.
right.
Right.
And then from the moment, because Benoit and Guillaume are also, they were involved in the hip hop scene for other projects. So I knew them for those other projects. And I just started to hang around them more with this End of the Week thing. And then we're now family.
Right.
Copy.
No, that's really dope.
And when you were attending the EO Dub Quebec scene, is that when you came across Monkey and started managing him, or were you already like did you already know him from like your personal um like friendships or group of friends or
Friendship.
something like that?
I met Monkey when I was doing because I opened a hip hop cafe in 2014, but about like 10 years before I started doing the market analysis, as I was explaining. And then I met like 40 people in that range of time. That's when I met Monkey. And at
Copy.
that point, I don't know if you know that Holden, but he was with Logics, and they were kind of like a lot of people were saying at that time that Monkey was in a sect because he was like
He was in a
living.
what?
Okay, this is a big
A sec?
topic.
That's not a word. That's not a word in
No,
English.
no, no,
Okay.
no. It's more like
Um,
okay. Like I believe what you're trying to say is a cult.
yes,
Yeah,
that's
like a
exactly it.
sect. No, a sect.
Oh,
I
is it
know.
sect a
This is what I'm
cult?
saying. I was trying to confirm
Oh,
that
okay,
you were
yeah. Is
saying
that a
sect
thing?
as in
T,
SECT,
yeah.
like
This
a sect.
exactly it.
Yeah,
I
like
Yes,
didn't
yeah,
even realize
yeah,
that it's in that
absolutely.
context. Okay, yeah,
that
fair.
exists. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
no.
Word,
cool.
word.
Okay.
Word.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what a sect is. So,
So
like, wait, what's
that
that?
has
Like,
come
But a
up.
lot of
but
people,
why?
yeah, a lot of people were thinking that because the thing is that like he was living, like at that point, like they were not recognizing the laws of Canada. That group in the land, well, in the building that they had in Montreal. Like it was really something very interesting when it comes to Monkey. If ever you have the chance to speak to him,
So
you
I
should definitely
anyway,
get
that
deeper into that. But
I don't
that's
know if
that's
that'll
when I
happen.
started to get into. Huh?
I
How do you
saw
see that?
we talked to Monkey and let's say it didn't feel like that was gonna be the focal point of that conversation, and I don't know how much of that is
Yeah,
like
no, I don't
I
think.
know enough about the place to know that we're never gonna get the truth of that place on camera unless that'll be some oral history shit that gets written. That's not gonna be an on camera thing.
No. But to answer your question, no, I've known Monkey for a couple years before End of the Week, and it's just that Monkey was he was always into freestyling before that ever happened. Like he was part of Community, and Community is a live band that every Tuesday what they were doing is that they were improvising, but the band and MCs every time. So he was familiar with that. So I got in a week, and then I knew the MCs in there too, so I knew the quality of the MCs. So I understood that end of the week was something real, definitely.
Word. Copy.
Right.
All right. So 10 years in pickup, you can, right? Like that's where you left off. Is you were 10 years into getting yourself enthralled in the scene.
Yeah. So basically, you did, when you did the journalism stuff, right, back then, did you like publish anything? Like, what is your journalism that you did actually? Because I'm super curious
I
about
was
that.
I was working. Do you remember Camus? Does that ring a bell to you? Okay,
Nah.
so it was a little free magazine that's been given in different
Okay.
different spots in
Actually,
Montreal.
notice I do
It was
remember.
like it was big like that. Like it was a small thing, but like I was taking care of the hip hop portion. I did interviews with Tech Nine, Immortal Technique, Marco Polo. I did DJ Format out in England. Uh, I did a lot of people in here, obviously in Montreal. That allowed me to not only get a few dollars for being around hip hop, but also every like little thing that I did in the past was like me playing chess. So I'm putting one of the players there because I want to be in all those circles. Because whenever after that I want something, I know all those people because I've did stuff with them. So this is one of the reasons why I got into that.
Right. And so from that point, then you go through, you discover end of the week, and you're going to all the
Yep.
events there. You're networking, you're doing your thing. Are you at that point involved in any other projects, like as you're building up to the hip hop cafe? But like, what else are you kind of up to during that phase? Is that when you're managing Monkey actively, or?
At that point, yes. I did like 3 years of managing for Monkey. I was also doing the Word Up battles. So our battle league in Quebec, the French one, is Word Up battles. It's actually the first French battle league in the world before the French one. So I was taking care of all the sponsorship at that point. So because we were filling the Club Soda is about like a 1,500 people place. So we were
Actually,
filling it every
that's
time.
nice.
And so I was taking care of that. And then I was doing volunteering at Under Pressure, which is the graffiti festival that we have. It's been going on for 26 years. I was managing also DJ Manifest, which is one of the best DJs that we have in here. He's Corias' DJs as well. So I mean, I was doing all of that, and I had a blog also called the Hip Hop Cafe. So like a lot of years before I even opened, I had a blog called the name of the business that I wanted to have. So that's why whenever the brand came out, like everybody knew about it.
Right.
And I was doing like video clips of 16 bars capsules where I was doing a little interview and then the MC was spitting the 16 bars. So I was doing this like 12 years ago, 10 years ago.
Nice. Yeah.
That's like, and that's a wild thing. Is that, do you have all that footage and stuff? Like, does that still exist?
It's on YouTube.
It's,
I could send it to you, yeah.
yo,
It's
that's
still on
a
YouTube.
treasure. So basically, then you open up the cafe and you have the experience there. And tell us a bit about what it's like to be the guy behind the hip hop cafe.
Well, man, first of all, like you need to understand, like I've been working on this project for 10 years at that point. So for this to even just open the doors, like that is a win for me. Just for that, because that was my goal. And that was my goal for like 10 years before that. So I've always been like a workaholic that was sacrificing a lot of his youth to actually get to where he wants. So that to me was like bananas. And then also the amount of people that it got me to know, like you, for example, because I didn't know you before that.
It's true.
It's insane. So I met, because the thing is that in Montreal, like there's so many diverse little cliques and different kind of all types of hip hop you can imagine. Like that allowed me, being behind that counter, to discover a portion that I didn't know, because I was familiar with whatever typical Quebec rap was, but I mean, whatever is always promoted is always the same artist. It's always a very white promotion, if I could say it like that. So artists for the communities are not necessarily represented. So I was like, okay,
Right.
finally I'm able to see like there's youth classes, and then Concordia has a hip hop association, and then like it allowed me to just network. So for me, that was a blessing. Even though I was open for 8 months, I mean, 80% of the startups are not succeeding. So I'm not really like sad that it happened, because it gave me a life experience that I'm always going to be grateful.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no, it sounds like
it's a big win.
you got to network with a lot of people
I mean,
that you probably
But
wouldn't have been able to network with.
yes, and it really puts me in a situation now that
I mean,
whatever projects that I have going on right now, I'm able to approach different kind of people, and the answer wouldn't is not going to be the same that it was 10 years ago, because I
Right.
accomplished, and I'm always working towards my goal, and I think that at some point people respect that. And this is
there's
also what
like
led me
another
to connect
thing
with
though
people
is
in New York.
like, yo, like for real, like another side to it is like I'm a beneficiary of your efforts, right? Like at that point, I
Right.
was like really relatively new to the game. A lot of the stuff that was comfortable was maybe not happening as much anymore. That's when the scene and shifts towards a different energy that was starting to take over in terms of the live performances, and at least what I knew was changing. And then you pop up, and it kind of helped me keep a little momentum going in my life, because there was this like thing, and it was the first time I ever had to go freestyle. I distinctly remember the first time I ever had to freestyle on a topic was at your shit, where somebody pulled something out of it. And I know for a fact that you gave that many people a lot of memories that like really fueled and created a space for it. And that for a lot of us, like, yo, when we hear your name, it's like, psh, he helped my career. And you did that for a
Yeah, I
lot
was
of
gonna say
people,
it sounds
like
like
a lot of
by
people.
having
I
yeah,
appreciate
it sounds like by having that spot, you gave a lot of people an opportunity to be able to get their art off. And I'm pretty sure that, years later,
Like there's
not all of them gave up, right? Some of them probably kept on
Nah, there's
going.
people that I
They
remember adding on
they
Facebook at your cafe that I see are still pushing today. Like it's really
facts.
like that. And there's not enough. I don't even know if I'd be here if I hadn't seen you doing that. Like let's be real, how many people created a thing like that at that time that was so community centric and altruistic in its actions? Like on a real tip. Like I just don't want to undermine that. It's a huge win. Like the only thing you could argue is a loss is maybe money.
Yes, definitely.
I mean,
And that'd be like the
But
only
at
thing.
the end
hip
of the day,
hop.
like there you go, there you go. And I mean, nobody that wants to start something in business is going to succeed like that the first time, and then nothing is going to happen. They just move forward. Like it's not a fairy tale like having a business. So, and also one thing that allowed me to go through that is because my mom started a business, and we got thrown the fuck off from more place because she wasn't able to pay the rent anymore, because she had to go bankrupt on a business. So I know what it is. I know what it is to like. That's the thing about me, is that I had a life where I went to private school. I played hockey. Like I really have a good childhood, but then at some point it went all wrong. It went fucked up, and then we were thrown. As I said, we were thrown out. So my mom went to live somewhere. I went to live somewhere, and that experience shaped me a lot in like it's always about attitudes. How do you react to things? So that experience made me understand that I could cry, I could do this, I could do that, I could take my life. Like I could do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, like I chose to just, you know what? I'm gonna reimburse my debt. I'm gonna reopen it again, and I'm gonna learn from that. And this is exactly what's happening.
That's
It's
dope.
like a fucking success story. Like you're just
Yeah, no,
like somebody's got to write a book.
that's real life success.
Like
That's real life success because people don't understand that like there's not much that comes with victory that you can learn from. right? Like,
Woof.
uh, there's so much that can be learned in defeat, you know, and you learn how to become better and how to like uh, be able to actually succeed. You know, with victory, there's like just you're victorious. You feel good. That's
Mm.
it. Like you know, after that, it becomes like you know, well, now you got to win again. You know, and it might turn into that pressure, right? But for most people, they just walk away with like a victory, you know, because they're just happy with it, you know. But with like the defeat is where you really grow as a human being, you know. That's when you really see what you're made of.
Facts.
And it sounds like, you know, in that situation, you really even that I wouldn't even consider it a defeat, right? Because again, like
I don't really
if
see a
all
defeat.
these people, yeah,
I,
if all these people that you got to network with continue, right? You now have a network, right? That it now increases your network because we all know that as you get older, you know your network of people really is what you depend on for your network, right? Like this is how you
definitely.
get jobs. This is how you know. So like these people are now increasing your. So these are all just positive, you know. So like I can't see any of it as like a negative, right? Like
Oh no, not at all.
sounds yeah,
I
sounds
will say
like
though
a
that
big win.
I will say though that you don't necessarily think like that right away. Like there's a process that you need to go through
Right.
because
Of
whenever shit
course.
happens and you have to close for whatever
Yes.
reason, like I'll be
You got to
honest with you,
grieve. It's
it
like
really
losing a life.
fucks you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But see, that's the
Absolutely.
thing.
Cuz
Like having something fucking you up is definitely like a life teacher.
yeah.
Like in so many ways. Like the reason why I stress today is not the same reason why I was stressing 10 years ago. Like I'm able now because of that because I lived it through my mom and I lived it myself. Like I'm able now to just grasp whatever I'm living in that experience and say, okay, this is not. It can't be a defeat because you learned this, you learned that, you met them, you met that, and I mean we're in 2022. I still have people talking to me about when do you reopen the hip hop cafe. I closed in 2014.
It's
Almost
it's
10 years later and people still
no,
want
it's
that
that
back
lit
in
of
their
an
life.
experience because like there's to this day not a single thing like it, and I don't see anybody with the ambitions to do something like that, but also with like the reputation to back it up because anybody can do some shit, but who doesn't trust Olivier? I mean, I say it like that because it's like I've never met a
That's how it
person
is.
that doesn't, and it needs that kind of a person to truly create that kind of a space. And yo, this guy's CD collection alone is a credential to where like
Nah, I see those posts all the time. I like them every time that I see
you're
them
like
because it reminds me of like some of the CDs that I still have to this day right now that I'm like, oh shit, I got that, you know, like so. Nah,
or just the
I see the
pure
CD
joy
collection
when you do a
pictures.
haul, like you find some new shit, or when you're like, yo, I want to trade albums because I happen to have a duplicate. It's like it's Pokemon cards. I've not seen anybody with the
Kind
level of
of. It
passion that
is.
you bring to this. So it's like you doing it is different.
But see, that's the thing. Like me, I'm always been like a firm believer that you have to do things that you're passionate about. Like so, rap is really something. Like I really am a geek when it comes to rap. Like I am a guest. I know that I am a guest in hip hop, but I know a lot. I made my studies. I'm a student. Will always be a student, and I think that this is so important because we live in a generation where so many people want to exploit that culture and exploit whatever is beneficial from it. That I find it important that I stay true to who I am, to the culture that I represent, and I bring back those two elements to the forefront so that I'm able to go see corporations or go see other businesses and have partnership and not feel like I'm like being corny with what I represent as hip hop or stuff like that. Nah, at all.
I respect that. I don't know.
Well,
It's like one of those big ones where you're
I don't
like,
know. I don't know who couldn't respect that, right?
you're just like left with, there's no follow up to that. We got to let it resonate for a second.